No Ties asked me to come on to talk about how to be an author. And that comes from, I just published my first book in November, and I cannot tell you what a difference this has made to my business. It's been absolutely phenomenal. My credibility has gone through the roof. But I need to tell you the background of how it happened, because I also cannot let you underestimate how much hard work it is as well. So I've put together a few slides of what I think you want to hear from me, but really I just wanted to open it up to Q&A. So I hope you've got your questions ready. So if I share my screen, I hope you can all see that now. Patrick, can you give me a thumbs up? Yep. So this is me. So I am a solution-focused psychotherapist. I help people with anxiety, stress, depression, all those things. I talk a lot, like Shelley said, about stress buckets and polar bears, and you'd have to come to one of my talks to find out what all that is about, because today I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how to be an author. So this is a picture of me before I wrote a book. Because my hair is very glossy and my skin is really glowing and I look really happy. And then I wrote a book and this happened. My hair went grey and I'm just in a permanent state of shock at the moment. It is such hard work, I cannot tell you. I found it really hard. Some people might find it really easy. If you do, good luck to you. Well done. And if you do, you'll do this a lot faster than me. But if I can get you to stop making some of the mistakes I did, I'd like to do that for you today. So you've probably heard the phrase, everyone's got a book in them. And everyone definitely has. However, you've got to get it flipping written. This is the bit I found difficult. Initially, when I thought, right, I'm going to write a book, I thought, yeah, that'll be good. I know what I'm going to write about, so I'll just start writing. But actually, when you get down to it, it's really hard. So don't underestimate the work you're going to put into it. But the absolute value you get from it is so worth it. So I don't want to put you off, but I do want to encourage you. So the first thing to think about is, what are you going to write about? So I am a therapist helping people with mental health. So you could say, right, you're just going to write about mental health, Gin. But that's not enough. I mean, the subject of mental health is huge. I mean, you know, if Gemma was going to write a book about finance, I'm sure the subject's huge. If Patrick was going to write a book about design, what are you going to write about, though? And how are you going to put that into something concise in a nice, organized way? So what I did is I started writing about and just really writing the script of the talk I do, which is how to empty your stress bucket. And that's where I bring a polar bear in. So I started writing there. Then I started to develop it a little bit. It grew from there into, right, how do I work with clients? Because my clients were just always asking me, oh, can you put that in a PDF, Gin? Can you write some notes on that for me? Can you send me one of your blogs or articles on it? So that's how it started to get a little bit more tangible of what I was going to write about. So I think that's really important. So whatever you do, don't think, oh yeah, I'm going to write about my subject, because I'm sure your subject is huge. Secondly, why are you writing? For me, I was writing to, yes, get credibility in my field, and also to make this the ultimate business card. I'll be very honest with you. All I wanted from this was a book that I would give out as a bit of a business card. I've written a book on this subject if you want to know more about what I do. So have a think about why you are writing this book. As well. What is it that you want from it? What's the result that you want from it? And it can be absolutely anything. So like I said, definitely for me, it was about just getting credibility in my field to be known as an author. I've written a book on the subject. And who is it for? So there's all these really obscure titles for books. Someone somewhere is reading them. So do not think about, oh, no one's going to read my book. Somebody is going to read your book. So when I was thinking who I'm going to write it for, I thought, I'm going to write it for my clients. That's the only person I was writing my book for. What's happened after that has been brilliant. However, all I had in mind while I was writing it was, what do my clients want? So I took, my book goes through my 10-week program, basically, if I say that. So it is the handbook to my 10-week program of therapy, but it's turned into a book that anybody can read. So it's a step-by-step process. It's not written in any academic fashion, because that's not what I wanted. It's written in my voice, the way that I speak, because that was the best way I could write. And actually, the feedback I've had from it is, Gin, I can hear you speaking in this. So from people who know me and my clients who've all got, obviously, a copy of the book, they said they're reading it and they can hear my voice. And that was the biggest compliment, because that's what I wanted. It hasn't got any big words in. I try not to use big words when I'm talking and presenting as well. I like to keep it simple. I've also had a lot of therapists read this book and love it. That has been a huge surprise to me. I wasn't writing it for other therapists, but I've had feedback from other therapists that have said, oh, you've given me the confidence to do a presentation, the way you've worded things, the way you've explained things. I'm explaining things that way now. And that's been a great compliment. So what will you write about? Why are you writing it? And who is it for? So I think if you can hone that down, first of all, that will really help you. It took me a long time to do that. I sort of just started writing, wasn't really quite sure what I was writing. I hit a bit of a brick wall. Then I had to go back and do this. So this should save you loads of time. This will take the 6 months off what I was doing. Anyway, the actual process of writing, okay, it's, again, like I said, it's hard, but this was my process. Write what you're going to write. Just write. Just write. Type away. You can use, there's dictation you can use in Microsoft Word. That might help you, but just write. Write in gobbledygook, not sentences. Write notes. When you write it, read it back then. So write a paragraph, for example. Read it back to yourself. Edit it. And then repeat. And keep doing that until you get yourself a book. I'll guarantee you that works. Because this is me when I threw my desk over, because I'm like, totally, you will definitely hit these spots. I hit brick walls, I will be very honest with you. But then just getting down to this basic write, read, edit, repeat. Write, read, edit, repeat. I cannot tell you. That's as simple as it can be. And if you can talk, you can write. That's what I would say to you. If you can talk, you can write. Just write the way you're speaking. If you're writing blogs, if you're writing social media posts, you're a writer. So just write a little bit more to fill it into a book. Publishing. I am really passionate about self-publishing. Now, I will say that I pitched my book to over 50 publishers and agents. And if you want to do that, that's great. I'll show you how to do that, and I'll explain how to do that in a moment. And I got lots of, well, I didn't hear from most of them. I got a few rejections. And then I had 2 publishers that were very, very interested. And so they were coming back to me with questions. Oh, like, so could you expand on that chapter? What do you mean by this? Who are you aiming the book for? What do you mean by stress bucket? Are you going to elaborate on that? And I kept answering those questions backwards and forwards. And it got to the point where it sounded like, it felt like I was asking their permission to publish this book. And if you know me well enough, I don't ask anyone's permission for anything. I am not asking publishers for permission to publish this book. I'm getting this book out there. So I stopped those 2 conversations and said, don't worry about it. I'll self-publish. So that's why I'm a huge advocate of it. If you've got something to say, you do not need permission. You have got your niche. You have got your audience who want to read your book, who want to hear about you. Self-publish. The other thing I do is I've got a podcast, and that was exactly because of I've got something to say and I don't want anyone's permission. So I've got a podcast. It's for free because I wanted to do it for free, with probably most of my material on it. I'm coming up to 100 episodes. They're quite short episodes. I will say they're 10, 15 minutes long, but that I do 1 a week. So I've done 100 weeks of content. And again, the messaging I'm getting from people who I don't even know, just strangers coming up to me, sending me messages, saying, your podcast is really helping me. And again, I'm just going back to, why am I writing the book? Why am I doing this? I just want to help people understand that we've overcomplicated mental health, and it's not as complicated as that. It's actually dead easy. I know how to keep a stress bucket empty, so can you. So again, it's about content. You do not need permission to publish. Do not ask anyone's permission. Get it out there as well. And so these are my references. I'm going to come to questions in a moment. So I did, Michael Heppel does a Write That Book masterclass. I did his first one that he did. I think he's on number 5 now. So he does a masterclass to help you do that. That's how I did it. You don't have to. If you're feeling quite confident writing a book, if you've written it already, good for you. I also use someone called Indie Authors World, Kim. She's based in Glasgow. Her company, they helped me loads with all the tech in the background as well. So the actual formatting, they got me an editor, they did all of that. However, I started off just giving some of my drafts to a lot of my friends to read, and they loved it and they helped me correct it. You can literally take a PDF of your book, upload it to Amazon and publish it. You're a publisher, you're an author. That's how easy it is to do. I wanted to do it in a slightly different way. So that's why I've got these people on board. I work better that way. But I did start off without any help at all. I was just writing my book at home. They came to me as I was writing my book, I will say, not right at the beginning. So you don't have to jump in with these people straight away. At least make a start writing some content, first of all, with the tips I've given you. And this book here is like, it's a reference book. It's the Writers and Artists Yearbook. In here are all the publishers. And so what you do is you go through this book. This is what I did. I circled all the publishers who really specialize in my kind of book, a self-help book, a mind management book, a business book. And I circled those, and that's who I pitched it to. So get an up-to-date version of this. Mine's old now, so it's, I think you should really get an up-to-date version. It's available everywhere. And in that's got all the publishers if you want to pitch to publishers as well, which, I totally recommend, and I rate anyone that does that. It just wasn't the route for me, for the reasons that I told you. So that's how to be an author. And I'm going to welcome any questions on any of that. That's what I thought you might want to know, but I've made a lot of assumptions there. What else is it that I can help you with? Because I'm sure if any one of you here wrote a book, I'd buy it for sure, because you've all got something of value that I would want to learn. But like I said, I cannot tell you the amount of credibility I've had from publishing a book. They say if you want to be successful in business, you need, first of all, visibility, which I had because I did lots of networking. Then you need credibility. And that's what this has got me now, and the podcast, and being on radio and being on TV with it. And then profitability comes. So it really is a commitment. It is hard work. I've not underplayed that, but I cannot tell you the absolutely thrill of getting that book in your hand, the credibility, the difference it's made to my business, the difference it's made to my confidence as well. So yeah, it's been fantastic. That's me done. I kind of whizzed through that because I didn't know what else you wanted to know. So like I said, I assumed a lot there, but I'm ready for questions. Kim helped me with cover design. My illustrations are done for me. I use them in my presentation. So I had my illustrations. I would say Patrick and Derek. I think networking here is where you're going to really, and that's how I met the person who did my illustrations. I met through networking. Here, you've got 2 guys already. Your photographs can get done from Rebecca. Networking has really helped my business anyway. But then I had all these contacts as well. So I would say, yes, you can get your illustrations done. You need to find a style that suits you. Kim will help you, I mean, Patrick and Derek, you'll have some advice here, I'm sure. So, definitely, yeah, if you want illustrations in your book, it's your choice. When I first did the manuscript for my book, it had no illustrations, and it was a very last minute thing. Like, oh, wow, I have actually got graphics. I can use them. So it was a real last minute thing. And I don't know why it didn't occur to me from the beginning. And it's only got 2 or 3 in. but it gives real good consistency for when I do a talk, and then when I give out my book at the end of the talk, and then when my book sales have a little spike when I do a talk as well. So yeah, go for illustrations, but there's already people here that can help you with that, and you will find someone. You will find someone to do them. The way it's changed my business is people are approaching me now. I'm not going out approaching people. People are, oh, someone's written a book, right, let's get in touch with her. So that's what I mean by credibility. People will approach me more saying, oh, well, I've read your book, or someone's passed their book on to someone. And I'm speaking more to decision makers. I've always tried to speak to decision makers in business. So I do a lot of corporate talks and things like that, as you know. So I'm speaking to decision makers because they know I'm an author, and they want to sit in on the meeting as well. So it's more about credibility. So, yep, I'm a therapist. I've also written a book, and the title is quite appealing. It's quite catchy. And as my talk is anyway, your stress bucket, your polar bear, people are already intrigued. So that's how it's helped, in that and calling yourself an author, like, it's such a thrill. It's such a thrill. The second part of your question, so you've written a book, you published a book, how do you get it out there? So I had already done the visibility bit with a lot of networking. So remember, the reason I wrote the book was to give to my clients, that's all. And my client might buy a copy for their friend because they've had, a good experience with me. That's all I wanted from it. However, social media has been brilliant for me. I've obviously put it on my website as well. I talk about it all the time. It's the perfect business card. I take it with me. I've had friends that have read this in coffee shops, and people have looked over and said, where did you get that book? So, there's loads of ways to do it. So keep plugging it on your social media. So the thing is, your marketing starts before you've written the book. So I did, when my cover designs were coming through, I sent out a post. I think you saw it. Which cover design do you like? There was a choice. So I was building up the momentum. The marketing began, I think, Jen, you'll probably agree on this. Marketing begins before you've even written the book. If you've got to build the hype, and you've got to be known to be that person in that field. Oh, there is a book coming out. My podcast was already out. So it wasn't just right. I write the books quietly, secretly, and then put it out there and expect to sell 100 copies. It doesn't work like that. I have a very supportive husband. I have no children, and I have a life. Yeah. So yeah, it took up a lot of time. But if you wrote 10, 15 minutes a day, and when I was really struggling with it, that's what I did. Like I said, I hit a few brick walls. Just write 10 minutes every day. You'll write it soon enough. I know someone who had a ghostwriter as well. So you can get someone to do it. You can get a VA to help you with that as well. So I wrote a little bit every day. But then some weeks I wrote loads. I don't know what happened. I just got into it. And then the breaks went on for about 6 months at one point. I fell out of love with it. I'd had enough. So it's just trying to be consistent. But I will say I have absolute, complete support around me. Right. And I think we forget that in business. I went to a networking once, and someone was saying, oh, like, I'm really struggling with my business, because I'm trying to look after my kids, and I'm unfortunately going through a marriage breakup, and all this is happening. And someone said, you don't need a business coach. She was looking for a business coach and a mentor. And someone said, you need a childminder and a cleaner. And you will be able to get on with your business. Yeah. So it's the solutions are never that complicated. It is discipline. And when I get my head screwed on properly, I am a very disciplined person in general. So yeah, that's how I did it. But support network completely. And also in networking as well, I found a lot of support, people like Denise, who's not here today, really supports me. There's other groups that I go to that we can have a chat. I mean, I was just in a breakout room with like Jen and Jane, and that I just find that gives me a lot of energy. At home, I'm very, very supportive, and I've been brought up in luckily a very supportive background as well. I've been really blessed in that way. I think it's minimal. I don't think it's much at all. You can design your own book cover as well. So you can, get your own book cover designed. You can do that yourself in Canva. and upload it as a PDF, and you've got yourself a book. So I know a lot of people have done that. So I'd written the book that took up enough time. I was really busy in my business. I had to have some other help. And so my book now is formatted absolutely beautifully. Everything's clear. When it's on the Kindle, it's formatted really well. So I've seen people, unfortunately, upload a PDF and it doesn't come out on Kindle very well. So that's all tech in the background. You need some help there. Cover design, and the fact that my book is available everywhere. So it's not just on Amazon, because I'm not a big fan of Amazon, to be very honest with you, for obvious reasons. Like I don't like what they stand for. So my book is available. Any independent bookshop can get my book, and that is actually the next stage I'm looking at, to go into independent bookshops in Edinburgh and punt my book to them. As well. That's what I really want. But it's available at Waterstones. You can order it at Waterstones, WH Smith's, Book Depository, Blackwell's, everywhere. And so that's why I went through Kim at Indie Author as well to do that. But I know loads of people that got huge credibility from just uploading a book to Amazon. Didn't everyone write a book in lockdown? Someone was saying, like, in the first lockdown, loads of people wrote a book and uploaded it to Amazon and have done really well. And you can also then get picked up by a publisher who will say, that book is brilliant. I'm going to take that book for you and do an improved version of it. If you go through a publisher owns all the rights to your book. Just something to remember.